Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Moving to Australia, and thank you for tuning in, whichever part of the world you're in. Joining me this week is a friend and colleague from Sydney, Amitava Deb, who is also the founder of Debika Migration Services. Good morning, Amitava. Hope you're well.
Good morning, Arun. I'm good. Hope you're well.
I'm good as well, Amitava. Thank you for asking. In today's episode, we are going to have a conversation about the various pathways available for New Zealand citizens who can become permanent residents here or Australian citizens. Let's start with the very first question. What, in your opinion, makes Australia so attractive to young professionals from New Zealand?
So there was an agreement introduced in 1973. It's known as the Trans-Tasman Travel Arrangement. What it provides under this agreement is that Australian and New Zealand citizens are able to enter each other's country to visit, live, and work indefinitely without the need to apply for prior visa or any authority. So because of that, Australia almost is like a part of New Zealand and vice versa. Or rather, Australia and New Zealand as a group is ANZ. There's a terminology used everywhere. ANZ, meaning Australia, New Zealand. So people can freely move between each other countries or their locations. Now, when it comes to employment prospects, of course, New Zealand has cities like Auckland, Christchurch, and Wellington. These are the three main cities. Wellington is the capital. Christchurch is in the South Island. The opportunities are probably not as much as in Australia. So, for young professionals in New Zealand, they obviously would be interested to come to Sydney or Melbourne or other Australian cities for better prospects. Same as someone from Tasmania would like to come to the mainland in Australia for better prospects. It's not that there aren't opportunities, it's just that they want to be exposed further because this agreement makes it easier to move around. Yeah.
So, when we talk about young professionals leaving, what kind of professionals are mostly tempted to leave New Zealand?
I don't have the statistics around, but I think it'll be mainly the professionals like engineers, um, medical practitioners, nurses, and so on. So um, there are a lot of ease of movement provided for several professionals, even students. So I guess it is not restricted to any particular profession, any profession. I personally come across mainly accountants, sports managers, IT professionals, engineers who wish to move to Australia for better prospects.
So, when you speak with your clients from New Zealand, what are the things that they tell you that they love about Australia and has cemented their decision to move here?
Well, they move for various reasons. Some have their families in Australia. Some move because they want better lifestyle, better prospects. Well, lifestyle, I think it's the other way. People think New Zealand has a better lifestyle. It's probably more of professional advancements they move. There are people who move just casually move here because it's easy to move. They come here, find good employment prospects, and then they continue to live here. So they do not need to apply for any visa. By default, they get a visa known as Subclass 444. So Subclass 444 is for New Zealand citizens. As soon as they enter Australia, they are onshore under this particular visa, which is known as special category visa, SCV. Earlier, when someone comes here on a special category visa, they could apply for Australian permanent resident after living here for a certain number of years. I think it was 3 years, and they had to have such certain income threshold. Now that is all gone.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because recently, as recent as July 2023, the DH announced changes to citizenship eligibility for New Zealand citizens.
Yeah, so they can apply now directly for citizenship, and the rule is they have to be living here with holding the special category visa for at least 4 years. It's the same as someone who is a permanent resident. So special category visa is now held at par as a permanent resident, and as long as they fulfill the same resident rules, they can apply for citizenship and be granted. I had someone who got the citizenship granted in 3 months. Yesterday, they had come for the ceremony in Parramatta. So I had a
Oh,
coffee with them. Now, I want to probably touch upon something else. So, when a New Zealand citizen comes to Australia on subclass 444 and they get married to someone who is neither Australian nor New Zealander, what happens? You have a partner visa for an Australian citizen, but for a special category visa holder, subclass 444 holder from New Zealand, they also have a visa called subclass 461. Have you heard of 461?
no.
So subclass 461 allows them to bring their partners or close relatives into Australia. And the funny thing, and I think it's very interesting, and I don't know how the Australian government does it, the partner visa, normal partner visa for an Australian PR or citizen, the visa application charge is almost 9,000 Australian dollars. Whereas this particular visa, subclass 461, which is known as New Zealand Citizen Family Relationship Visa, do you know what is the visa application visa fee? It is $420.
That's it.
So I don't understand the disparity, but I thought I'll highlight 420 visa. So if someone is thinking of getting Australian citizenship and that person is single and in Australia, I would say if you want to save money, get married, bring your partner, then apply for citizenship.
Is it also similar for someone from New Zealand who's trying to bring their parents in?
Um, no, so New Zealand citizenship, sorry, New Zealand citizen family relationship visa is for members of family unit only. So, what is a member of family unit? That means spouse and children. It cannot be parents. Parents are not considered members of family unit. Maybe we should do a podcast later on member of a family unit. Who can be member of family unit? Because prior to 2016, parents were considered members of family unit. Now they are not. There's another topic I want to bring up. Sorry to interrupt. While I have it in my head. Um, we have so far spoken about New Zealand citizens. What about New Zealand permanent residents? Can they come to Australia? I get that question asked a lot. Can New Zealand permanent residents come and live in Australia? Because Australian permanent residents can go and live and work in New Zealand. The answer is strangely no. New Zealand permanent residents can visit, but they have to apply for visa. They have to apply for visitor visa, and they cannot come and work and live in Australia permanently. They have to wait till they become a citizen. So there is a bit of disparity because Australian permanent residents can go to New Zealand and work and live there as long as their visa is valid. Don't you think it is a little odd?
If you're going to have bilateral relations, then I think that
Hmm.
citizens of both countries should have equal rights.
That's correct. And I don't understand. Neither do I understand the difference in the visa application charges. But look, hey, I'm not the one who can complain. It has to come from others. I can only state the fact.
To wrap up this podcast, what is your final thoughts on the society Australia is creating and planning to build for the future to make it a very attractive destination for young professionals and families?
I think the government is focusing on certain industries to create a hub in Australia for innovation. So, technology innovation, AI centered innovation. If you go and look up the Global Talent Visa, it has the target sectors, and that is because these are the target sectors Australia is focusing on. So, these sectors are Digitech, and within Digitech, it's mainly AI enabled services or robotics. Then there is financial technology, fintech, healthcare, education, agrotech, and so on.
I know you have a busy day and you have to get going.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have a limited time to record this podcast. So we will come back to some of the questions that you brought up next week and we'll address those. So thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.